Hi, welcome everybody. We'll be starting here in about a minute. Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vaishali Sampat. I'm a member of the BOMA GLA Sustainability Committee. And welcome to our LunchCast series, part of the BOMA GLA Green Bites Sustainability Education Initiative. This committee launched this initiative to provide members with timely and actionable information they can use for operating and managing their assets and lowering their environmental impacts. This webinar series is designed really for our property owners, our managers, and our engineers. And this presentation will be recorded and available for later viewing at bomagla.org, as always. And with that, I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Maureen Urbiznik, here to discuss water efficiency. Maureen has been a driving leader of California's water efficiency initiatives for the past 30 years, creating the designs and directing the daily operations of a multitude of high achievement water programs. Throughout her career, Maureen has implemented over 50 major water and energy efficiency programs for multiple utilities, working closely with numerous trade ally networks, supply chain partners, and customers to meet project goals. As the water technical advisor for LABBC, Maureen provides a deep understanding of water use efficiency technologies for plumbing, HVAC, landscape and irrigation, food service, and reuse for both residential and commercial sites. We hope you find today's presentation valuable and ask that you visit bomagla.org for additional resources and to give us your feedback on the LunchCast series. And with that, over to you, Maureen.
Thanks, Vaishali. And thanks to all of you for joining today's webinar. Today, we're going to provide some information so that you're aware of a few pieces of state and local legislation that may impact you or your property. We're going to look at water use in typical commercial facilities, the top water savings opportunities, available incentives. Also, you can assess your properties and select the best and most cost-effective efficiency measures specifically for your properties. And we'll share some real-life case studies, super practical stuff. So it's official. California is currently 100% drought-free. But there's a longer story, as shown in the chart you can see. We've had 3 droughts in the last 20 years, with the 2011 through 16 being the worst in recorded history. We need to accept that California and Los Angeles will continually face droughts and water shortages. This year we had an incredibly wet season, but next year could be a dry one once again. In the words of John Steinbeck, and it never failed that during the dry years, the people forgot about the rich years. And during the wet years, they lost all memory of the dry years. It was always that way. And that's where we're at currently, in the wet years, forgetting about the dry ones. Looking back, the state did an amazing job and reduced water use by over 25% from 2011 to 2015. Now, however, it's creeping back, and in many areas back to 2011 levels. It's a cycle, and we have to be prepared to manage our resources better. To mitigate this cycle, the state last year passed landmark legislation setting standards for water use. Details for implementing the new laws will be determined over the next few years, but what the framework will do is allocate a water budget for each water agency. The water budget will be based upon an indoor residential water use target of 55 gallons per day. Outdoor targets will be based upon a landscape water budget, which will factor in the amount of landscape area at the property, which is going to be determined by the aerial imagery currently being measured by the state and the local climate. So cooler, denser cities like Santa Monica and San Francisco will be required to use less water, and hotter, more suburban cities will be allocated more. And areas that have done a lot to reduce water already won't be penalized. It's an allocation based upon efficient use of water. For commercial mixed-use meters, there's still a lot of debate on what the standard should be. And since there are no industry-accepted benchmarks and considerable variables in the in-use at any given site, there's still a lot of discussion. But it will be one of three options. Require water audits and/or water management plans, require installation of dedicated irrigation meters for sites with larger landscaped areas, or a % reduction over time. There's also local legislation. In 2016, the City of LA adopted an ordinance requiring buildings 20,000 square feet or more to disclose their buildings' energy and water consumption using EPA's Energy Star portfolio manager for benchmarking. The ordinance has three components: annually report your building's utility use and receive a benchmarking score. For energy, if you receive a 75 and are Energy Star certified, you pass. For water, there's only a score for multifamily buildings. Therefore, all other building owners will have to comply with the performance component of the ordinance and either conduct audits and retrocommissioning or tuning up your building, or reduce use by 20% over 5-year cycles. And building and safety will publicly disclose each building's performance. The point is, water conservation will be required in the near future, so it makes good business sense to initiate activities now. And understanding if your building is efficient is an important first step. If you're using more than the median water use intensity, or gallons per square foot per year, as seen in the chart, you have an opportunity to assess for water savings. These figures are from the CBEX national study done in 2012, and although not perfect, are a good guide. If you're an office building using 12.5 gallons per square foot per year, more than 12.5 gallons per square foot per year, you should take a look at your use and ways to reduce it. So where is water typically used in commercial buildings? Use will vary, but unless you have a highly specialized activity at your site, the top uses will fall into the same 4 categories. Number 1, restrooms. Number 2, cooling. Number 3, irrigation, if you have irrigation at the site. And number 4, kitchen. For multifamily, except for kitchens, the same categories apply. And making sense, but the top 3 measures with the highest water savings and best return on investment, and directly correlating to the top uses, are cooling tower water treatment upgrades, installing high efficiency plumbing fixtures, and upgrading your irrigation system. It's really as simple as that. Every property will be slightly different, but 80% of the commercial properties in Los Angeles, these will be the top 3 measures. So what are your options for cooling towers? There are several, going from low-cost measures to more expensive and complex options. We'll start first with just installation of a conductivity controller. Most towers have one, but many folks aren't using them as a water management tool, rather just to inject chemicals. So the conductivity controller can be used to better manage the system by more closely monitoring and maximizing the cycles of concentration. And it's a solution best suited for sites without on-site staff and smaller systems, but it should provide an immediate payback. Another option, and probably the easiest upgrade with the best return, is acid treatment, where you can further increase the cycles. However, as we know, acid is a hazardous material and requires special handling. Also, if access to your roof is a bit precarious, it may not be a solution for your site. But LADWP does offer rebates through the SoCal WaterSmart rebate program for both types of controllers: $625 for a smart standard controller and $3,000 for a pH or a controller for acid treatment. Most of the time, it'll cover the full cost. To help customers out in further looking at cooling tower options, LABVC has technology primers for each of these upgrades. The primers provide more details and decision considerations for each type of upgrade. Another cooling tower option is water softening to remove the hardness before the water enters the tower, thereby allowing even further increases to the cycles of concentration. It's a more expensive option and better suited for larger towers, but this technology is commonly available from most water treatment service providers. It does require space for the softeners, along with resources to monitor the system and add salt. There are also non-precipitation systems and electrochemical systems that don't use chemicals at all. These systems can be a bit more costly because they require additional resources to monitor the system and at times additional filtration. But a non-chemical system can help your site meet other goals such as eliminating chemicals. These solutions, again, are typically best suited for larger systems. Recently, the city of LA implemented a pilot for an electrochemical solution called Dynamic Water Technologies at their City Hall East property. DWT is an electrolysis process that promotes scaling of the hard minerals to reactors and instead of the tower and in the heat exchanger tubes. The city was already operating this system somewhat efficiently, and with the installation of DWT, now has been able to reduce water use by 20% and reduce maintenance and water costs annually by $38,000. The payback was 4 years, great project, and now the city plans on deploying this technology in other locations. They're also installing submeters with a cloud-based monitoring tool, Water Compass, which will help them track use and identify potential leaks. If this is of interest to you, LABBC has this and other case studies available. And there are also monthly tours going on at City Hall East, as well as an installation done at the SoCal Gas Energy Resource Center in Downey. So you can email me, I might give my email at the end, if you're interested in attending a tour or would like the case study. Another interesting cooling tower case study is the County of LA, who implemented a performance-based bid for water treatment. With dozens of buildings of different sizes and loads, literally 33 buildings in 4 different departments, the county was looking at how to ensure attainment of their water efficiency goals while keeping their costs down. So they generated an RFP that included performance requirements for water savings, water safety, and asset protection. They spent hours and hours up front developing formulas that were included in the bid for the bidders to complete for each tower. The bidder had to propose their chosen water treatment solution and the expected cycles of concentration. And then the calculation spit out the cost of running the system, including chemical, water, and sewer costs. The county was then able to fairly early evaluate each site and identify the maximum efficiency technologies. The contract was awarded to NALCO, and since the contract award, the county has seen over 60 million gallons in annual savings across all their facilities. The county was awarded LABBC's Innovation Award last year for this fantastic project, and LABBC can make the RFP available to any interested folks. Again, just email me. Another good option for commercial and multifamily buildings is plumbing upgrades. If your building was built before 2010, you're required by law to upgrade your building to current code. SB 407 requires that effective January 1st of this year, all multifamily and commercial buildings upgrade their plumbing fixtures to current code. The information that we've laid out here is just a quick reference guide with the best in market technologies, the retrofit price range, available incentives, payback, and links to programs and other resources. As with cooling towers, LABBC has primers for each of these technologies, which offer a bit more detail. So for tank type toilets, the best in market performs as low as 0.8 gallons per flush. For valve type, as low as 1.1 gallons per flush. However, for commercial buildings with valve type toilets, special consideration should be given when deciding whether to move to the best in market technologies. The design of commercial buildings and the fact that there's limited augmented water from showers, baths, washers, etc., means the lowest flow may not always perform well. So we strongly recommend that you pilot test technology before initiating full implementation. LADWP offers $250 per fixture through the SoCal Water Smart Rebate Program. And for a tank type toilet, it could result in immediate payback. There are firms out there doing installations for $250. For valve type toilets, the return is probably more like 1 to 3 years. These are all industry accepted averages and obviously may differ depending upon your site conditions. You can find toilet performance reviews and ratings at the MAP Performance website listed here, which is really super helpful when you're trying to identify what the potential performance would be. Also, EPA has a list of WaterSense certified models, and which is required for the rebate. For urinals, there are 3 predominant types: 0 water, 1 pint gallon, and hybrid, which use 1 gallon every 72 hours to address any calcium buildup in the pipes. LADWP offers $500 for any fixture using 1 pint or less. And with this substantial incentive, paybacks anywhere from immediate to 3 years. EPA has a list of WaterSense approved certified models. And again, we always recommend piloting new technologies. A super simple upgrade is for faucets and shower heads. Faucets can perform as low as 0.5 gallons per minute in public restrooms and 1 gallon in residential applications. Shower heads are now available as low as 1.2 gallons per minute. Again, EPA provides certified lists of products and manufacturers. And there are 2 programs currently available to LADWP customers. Commercial buildings can receive free shower heads and aerators from LADWP. And if you're a multifamily site, you can get free installation of aerators and shower heads through the Direct Therm program with the gas company. Here's an example of a super straightforward but highly profitable retrofit. Avalon Bay recently upgraded their Toluca Hills apartments to premium efficiency toilets. They received $373,000 in rebates from LADWP and saw an immediate payback, and as well as $75,000 in annual utility savings. E&S Ring did the same at 3 of their apartments. It cost them $212,000. They got $212,000 in rebates, and they're saving $112,000 annually in water and sewer costs. Irrigation, another option, is a bit more complicated, and obviously not all buildings have irrigation or any substantial irrigation. And with irrigation, a building owner really has 3 efficiency options with varying savings levels. You can install smart irrigation and reduce outdoor water use by 20 to 35%, reduce some of your lawn, reduce use by 30 or 20 to 35% as well, or remove all of your lawn with an estimated 30 to 50% reduction. You'll need to assess your site, your company, and several factors when making the decision. For instance, do you need an area for recreation? How old is the current system? Is it time for a large-scale improvement? Do you want a traditional landscape with a lawn? Do you want a modern look with a Zen garden? Do you want a sustainable look with a rain garden? These all need to be considered as you assess your opportunities and the feasibility of the potential upgrades. Almost all sites will benefit from installation of smart irrigation. Listed here are industry best practices, starting with smart cloud-based controllers that set and change the watering schedule based upon local conditions and weather, high efficiency sprinkler nozzles, which have reduced flow, but with improved technology, deliver the water in bigger drops and provide more uniformity, pressure regulating spray heads with check valves that regulate pressure and eliminate waste from low head drainage, and master valves and flow sensors that measure flow rate and usage, and if anomalies occur, will send an alert and shut off the system. And drip or point source irrigation, which reduce the watering reduce water use by watering each plant at its root. Most of these technologies will also protect the property from damage done by overspray and leaks. As a property owner or manager, you'll need to make a decision about which path benefits your property best. But no matter which one, again, LADWP has incentives. LADWP offers $50 per station for smart controllers, which should cover the whole cost. $6 per nozzle for high efficiency sprinkler nozzles, again, which should cover the whole cost, and $3 per square foot of lawn replaced for up to 50,000 square feet, $1 up to 7 acres. If you're outside of LADWP's service area, Metropolitan Water District offers base incentives for Southern California properties through the SoCal Water Smart Rebates program as well, at $35 a station, $2 a nozzle, and $2 per square foot of turf replace. There's also some innovative technologies being developed in the irrigation industry outside of just taking out the lawn or putting in better controllers and nozzles. One of which is the California State University Northridge's polymer project. Water absorbing polymers were injected into the turf grass. The polymers absorb water, acting like a sponge, and retain 400 times their weight, basically holding moisture until it's required by the lawn's roots. It teaches the turf to sort of drink differently and thus saving water. So although polymers have been around for over 100 years and they've been used in horticulture and ag, they haven't been used for existing lawns. The new technology is really the injection machine. Rain Systems, a company being incubated out of the LA Clean Tech Incubator, was the technology used at CSUN. And they were able to reduce water use by 60% and keep their valuable and functional turf space. And LAUDWP provided a custom incentive covering a third of the cost. One last technology for consideration is groundwater reuse. Although groundwater reuse may not be available for all folks on the call today, if it is available, it can be a great opportunity to offset demand at your site. Groundwater can be a nuisance in areas with high water tables because it can infiltrate and compromise a building's infrastructure. The conventional remedy is to simply dump it into the storm drain or sewer. This process is called dewatering. For new construction in LA, the city's 2015 building code requires developers to consider beneficial reuse, but for existing sites, beneficial reuse can not only offset water use at the site, but can reduce or eliminate costs associated with permitting and monitoring of the water quality. There are numerous areas with high groundwater tables throughout the city and county of LA. Seen in the map here, major areas include mid-city areas from the north, in West Hollywood down to Fairfax, Beverly Grove, Century City, Westwood, and West LA. There are additional smaller pockets as well. If your property falls into any of these geographic areas, you'll want to look at this as an option. An example of a super successful groundwater project is Cedars. A couple years back, they took on a really innovative project at the time. They literally had a river running under the building and were dumping it into the storm drain. They now capture that water, treat it with an RO system, and use it for their cooling. So Cedars is saving or offsetting with local groundwater over 28 million gallons per year. And they received $343,000 in incentives from LADWP and the Metropolitan Water District. Not all projects are as large as Cedars or require such advanced treatment. Century Plaza Towers in Century City took the groundwater, piped it to the cistern, and started using it for irrigation. They're saving nearly 3 million gallons per year, and this allows them to keep their functional turf grass. So, what can LABBC do for you? If you're a building in the city of Los Angeles, LABBC is here to help you, whether it's with W2, benchmarking, ordinance compliance, or just hitting your water savings goals. We do this by providing advisory services, the full spectrum of support. At your building, we can help you benchmark use, determine the best water savings opportunities. Then we'll sit down and take a look at the feasibility of implementing each of these opportunities. We'll also identify all available incentives and calculate your cost-benefit analysis. In addition, we can provide you with case studies, proof of technology performance, connect you with other customers so that they can share their experiences and exchange information about vendors, payback, installation issues, and just support you through the process. So it's time to make water efficiency a priority, and we're here to help. Here's my contact information, and if we have any questions, we'll move on. Bye,
Okay, thank you, Maureen. I think I would also like to thank all the participants for joining us today. We hope that you found today's presentation informative, and we encourage you to reach out to Maureen if you have any questions. And with that, we also have a couple of announcements. First is our upcoming LunchCasts on July 11th. Richard Lutt with IRSMO will be discussing waste management and recycling. And on August 8th, Ravi Bajaj with Healthy Buildings will discuss the value of green certifications. And also on August 21st, our committee will be hosting the annual sustainability seminar at the California Endowment Center from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. We're going to delve deeper into these water, waste, and energy efficiencies and initiatives. You know, something different with these seminars than the LunchCast series is that it allows you to interact with experts like Maureen, you know, face to face, so that you can discuss any questions you may have or receive a little more guidance, customized guidance. So we really encourage you guys to attend, and of course it will be breakfast, so can't pass up free food. So again, thank you, Maureen, and thank you for everyone for joining, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.